Hey YouTube, this is Mike, and I just wanted to share a short little snippet from this episode that I really enjoyed. However, if you want to listen to the full episode, either scroll down this post or head to mikejamesreid.com/podcast for the full episode. Thanks and enjoy. You know, maybe now's a good time to chat about that, and maybe because you've been on an interesting or a unique transition, right? Going from running a boat sales business very successfully and selling it, a couple of years ago, right? Now,
2 years.
Yeah, and it was 7-figure business, so you kind of that was a we'll call it a successful exit, and now you've transitioned into business coaching and coaching and helping other business owners to learn from all your years of experience. Tell us, what's that transition been like for you?
Well, it's really fresh in my mind. Look, I sort of struggled at the beginning. So once I sold the boat sales business, and part of one of the income streams we developed in the boat sales business was the boat guy, the person I created, the expert in the marine industry. I was consulting to other marine businesses. And one of the consultancy contracts we had was for me to assist in the creation and development and building of a new marina and a residential development here in Melbourne. And I'd worked on that, and within the last sort of year of us selling our business, I was working on that actually full time while I was still doing the boat sales business, and had a good team of people around me that enabled me to do that. So once we sold our boat sales business, I literally walked out of St Kilda and I walked into my new office down there at Wyndham Harbour and had a full-time consultancy role with them to run their marina and manage the whole process. So I didn't have a break in between positions. And on the day my contract signed for our boat sales business, my father-in-law passed away, and that was a fairly emotional time for the whole family. But it was interesting that I didn't have a break. I went straight out of St Kilda one day, straight into the new role, no transition. It was just all guns blazing. At the same momentum that I'd been doing St Kilda, I went into this new place. I did that for 2 years. And in September last year, the shareholders decided that my job had been done, and we sort of parted our ways. And I sort of struggled for a bit. So really, end of September last year, I was out on the market looking for what my next chapter was going to be. And I applied, and I thought, you know what, I'll just go and be a CEO or a general manager of an organisation, and I'll apply for some jobs on Seek. I've got, great experience and wonderful achievements in my life, and I'm a incredibly smart business person. And I could not find a job. It absolutely did my head in, and I wasn't even getting interviews with things that I'd applied for on frickin' Seek and LinkedIn and all that sort of stuff. And I actually found that to be a really, really hard and difficult time, and probably a fairly significant low in my life if I look back at it now. And, I felt like my confidence had been shattered. My competency was crap. No one wanted to hire me or get me interview me for a position because, for whatever reason is, and they often didn't give me reasons why I didn't get an interview. And so, of course, my mind's ticking over going, I'm not this, I'm not that. It's all about me being not the right person. And I listened to a really good piece of advice I heard from Eddie Maguire, who was talking on a podcast. And he said, you know what, during times like that, it's not about your competency that's wrong. Your competency is absolutely the same as it was 2 months ago. It's about your confidence, and your confidence is getting a beating. And I just grabbed onto that, and that resonated to me to make really good sense. It wasn't my competency, it was my confidence. Now, Darren, understand the differences. I was really hard on myself. Understand the differences. It's not about me. It's just about that I'm not applying for the right positions. I'm not pitching properly. I'm not putting myself in the right frame of right light to be accepted for that role. Maybe the role's just the universe was sorting me out, and those roles were never right for me. And so I moved down that path, but I found that really difficult. And then I was talking with Andrew Griffiths one night, having actually a beer on his balcony, looking at the sunset over Melbourne, and gazing into my navel, feeling really, really low. It was a really tough time. He said, Darren, what are you looking for these jobs for? This is just madness. Why don't you go out there and set up your own business? And you know what you've been really good at? You've been really good at making yourself accountable. why don't you go out there and teach people, work with people to get stuff done, become an accountability coach? And I thought about it and I thought, give me 24 hours to marinate on that. Went home, threw it over with the wife and talked about the, ups and downs and pros and cons. And next day I was all guns blazing and haven't looked back since. Registered a business name, started setting up websites, just building client connections, and off it's gone at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I look back at those 6 months, and we talked before about that sort of roller coaster. I look back at those 6 months. I had 6 months off, which I've never had before in my working life. It was off during Melbourne's peak summer, which to me in the marine industry for the last 20 years has been madness. It's the season where you make your money. And I had an opportunity to do what I've always done and always wanted to do, and that is sit back and look at Christmas from a distance, not being in the workforce, watching everybody run around like mad ants trying to get stuff done before the 24th of December. And I had an opportunity to do that. And I kind of didn't really grasp it very well because my mind was, I need a job. I just didn't really embrace it the way I should have. And looking back at it, I had 6 months off, which is what it was. And in that 4 months, I had some, great times where I embraced it and was really healing for me, started to replenish my energy bank. But there are times where I just fought it all the way and didn't want to be doing nothing. I wanted to be active because that's just who I am.